Good evening, welcome all of you. So, this evening we are going to discuss a very good topic that is on moral man. So, here we'll see how Sri Aurobindo really describes the moral man. Very interestingly, Sri Aurobindo quotes the moral man may be chock full of ego, an ego increased by his own goodness and rectitude. So, this ego almost it is swallowing up the moral man. It is this moral man almost it is coming with not almost it is the very common factor in the ordinary man. So the ordinary development that is the moral man, that is actually really he is a he may be a choke full of ego, and this ego increases with his own goodness and rectitude. That is what the problem, that is what the topic almost has to be discussed while discussing this moral man. So we know three types of man already. One is ordinary man, second is of course religious man, and the third one is it is coming very beautifully. We know that is spiritual man. After spiritual scenario, after spiritual division will come the last phase, that is supramental. So nobody can be supramental unless he is having the spiritual experience. Mother has a beautiful observation on this morality and moral man. You can become moral, you can break the moral rules only when you observe the divine law. So this moral man, he is almost confined, or almost he is only confined with the moral rules. That is actually confined, that is created by the mental phenomenon. So these moral rules can be broken only when somebody is observing the divine law. So without the divine law, without the package being packed, this unless otherwise this divine law is replacing the moral rules, this moral rule or morality can never be changed. Again, never judge on appearances, mother quotes. Never judge on appearances, still less on gossip. So what is actually coming to our appearance, that is not correct. Still we have to depend less on gossip. What is moral in one country may be immoral in another. So it is a relative term, it varies, it changes. So service to the divine exacts the sincerity of self-sacrifice unknown to any morality. Service to the divine is almost self-sacrifice, sincerity of self-sacrifice, that is almost unknown to the to people who are actually keeping the under we are on the morality. So still in the course, service to the divine exacts. So how it can be exacted? This is by the service to the divine exacts the sincerity of self-sacrifice unknown to any morality. Again, you have no you right to displease dispense with morality unless you submit yourself to the law of the higher and much more rigorous than the moral law. So unless or otherwise already we have got it, this moral law, this mental law has to be replaced by a higher law, that is divine law. Unless otherwise it is dispensed with, you have no right to dispense with morality. Unless otherwise it is replaced by the higher law, that is divine law. So you can't get dispensed. You can't get rid of these moralities. So naturally there is only one goal, that is morality. Moral law has to be replaced by divine law. Again, we will go for a beautiful description as described by Sri Aurobindo here on this particular portion. We will see how Sri Aurobindo defines the defines and of course differentiates these three types of law. One is ordinary life, second is religious life, third is of course your spiritual life. Then Sri Aurobindo quotes this moral life, that is only ordinary life, confined, it is almost only the original life. And then, of course, Sri Aurobindo has quoted the ethical life. Again, Sri Aurobindo has another beautiful description. In the ordinary life, people expect the vital movements, angers, desires, greed, and sex, etc. Ordinary life, that is the characteristic. What is the characteristic? Vital movements, anger, desire, greed, self, sex, etc. as natural, allowable, and legitimate. These things, these instincts, I will quote it again. vital moments, anger, desire, greed, sex. These are also all natural, allowable, and legitimate things on the part of the human nature. Only so far as the society discourages them, not a human individually. Here in the course again, the society at large, unless the society discourages it, and or wishes to keep him within the fixed limits or subject to a direct instrument or measure, people try to control them so as to conform to the social standards of morality or the rule of conduct. So these are the things must be taken care of beautifully, and society must discourage them. So, or wishes to keep them within a fixed limit or subject. That is what the requirement, unless otherwise it is done. Then there is no change, because it is almost man is preoccupied with the vital instincts. Here in the course, this ordinary life with the spiritual life. On the contrary, spiritual life, the conquest and the complete mastery over the things demanded. There itself, someone may praise. These are the vital instincts, very difficult to change. It can be replaced only by the divine instincts. Suppose some suppression is there, some social pressure is there. It may change for a while, but it is not permanent. To be changed permanently, it needs. There is a need of the social standard of morality, and of course, in the this is the requirement. The change is only done by the spiritual life here. In the change of with the spiritual life, the conquest and the complete mastery over all these things is demanded, not suppression, not to make one or two steps change, but actually complete mastery of the things is demanded. This is why the struggle is more felt, because they are sometimes they are moving away and they are actually sleeping somewhere or getting itself hidden, and later it is coming away. But in spirituality, everything has to be replaced by the divine. So that is initially more struggle is felt, not because of these things rise more strongly in sadhakas than the ordinary man. Here this point to be noted. These instincts, these are more commonly rises in sadhak than the ordinary man. So it is common phenomenon, common criteria. But because of the intensity of struggle between spiritual mind and which demands control and vital movements, there is struggle. There is a big struggle between the spiritual mind, and again with the vital movements. There is a big tussle everywhere. And then what happens, which rebel and wish to continue these vital instincts, these vital movements, they rebel and they want to continue, they will never leave you and forever. So this is very much a common fact in ordinary old life. Then steer in the course for these ideas actually, what have to be done. There may be things in the ordinary man in which he is not conscious. Some instincts are there in the ordinary people. Ordinary, they are totally unaware. They don't know what really it is happening, because of the vital hides them from the mind. So there is a hide and seek between vital and mind. It actually vital hides everything from the mind and gratifies them without the mind releasing what the force that moving in action. So this is the things. Thus the things are done under the play of altruism, philanthropy, and the service. So under these banners, it is coming these things which is done by the vital, hiding, being keeping hidden from the mind in the name of altruism, philanthropy, and the service, are largely moved by the ego. That's what the topic we are going to we are discussing right now. So what happens here? Some instincts are there. It is almost vital. When the divine role and the divine rule is pushed upon it, there is a big tussle, there is a big clash, and there is of course big resistance. So still in the again course, spiritual mind demands the full mastery over these instincts. Second thing, what happens ordinary, so far considering the with respect to mind, vital tries to hide a lot of things from the mind. What it is, what really it does, a lot of things are done under the banner of altruism, philanthropy, and service. They are, and all these things are moved by the ego. and which hides itself behind the justification. But this, when somebody is pursuing this process of yoga, in yoga, the secret motive has to be pulled to out from the behind the veil. So what is living in the behind the veil, it has to be pulled, exposed, and got rid of. That is what the requirement in yoga and yogic life. Second thing, some things are suppressed in ordinary life. Already know some instincts are there. We don't know. We don't have the touch of yoga. We don't may pursue the path of yoga. So something is suppressed really and remains lying in the nature. It simply sleeps. It keeps hidden, but actually it has never been removed, not got rid of. Lying in the nature, suppressed but not eliminated. So they rise up and delay or may express themselves in the nervous forms. So as it is, they are not completely replaced, not completely destroyed. So hiddenly they are sleeping, and sometimes they rise up to the surface and affect, of course, express in the nervous system, or their disorder of the mind vital have been recently discovered in the sadhakas. Mostly it is found in European psychologists. We find this instance. Against Aurobindo quotes beautifully about the three qualities of the ordinary man. Some men being able to control themselves, others being swept away. Here, that is the criteria. Some people are being controlled by these instincts; they control them, and others get swept away through with these instincts. It is due to difference of the temperament of the sadhaka. It depends. Nature and personality already we have discussed in many purposes. So it depends upon the difference of their temperament. Some men are sattvic and control comes easy to them. Sattvic, tamasic, and rajasic, three types of men, three types of qualities we have seen. For sattvic man, it is very easy to control, and control is very becomes easy. And some point at least they can able to be fully or to some extent they can control. Second comes the rajasic, and find this control difficult, maybe very difficult, tough, but often impossible. Third type of men, something that is there, that is their daily life, common movement. So again, so we will find beautiful. Some have a strong mind and mental will. Others are vital man. Some are mental, another are some vital people are there, whom the vital persons are stronger or more on the surface. These instincts it is found on the surface. Very beautiful is there in the course. But these have to be replaced by spiritual majesty, and mental control is partial and controls, but it does not liberate. For the liberation from these odd instincts, odd things, it is necessary to go for spiritual and psychic. That is what the requirement of the time. Against Sri Aurobindo quotes, while quoting on the mortality, Sri Aurobindo quotes, which the principle of life which I seek to establish is spiritual, only spiritual, nothing. Moral is a question of man's mind and vital. It belongs to the lower plane of consciousness. Moral belongs to a man's mind and vital to a lower plane of consciousness. So a spiritual is the life is therefore cannot be found on the moral basis. It's totally different. It must be founded upon the spiritual basis only. It does not mean that spiritual man is immoral. It does not like to think so, because spiritual he knows what is spiritualism and he has pursued something in life. So he is free. He can liberate. So law of the conduct, no other law of the conduct is binding on the spiritual man. The law of action of spiritual consciousness is higher because he knows, not lower in the moral. It is founded in the with the union with the divine, because he knows the self, he knows the psychic, he is in the proper track. So what happens, it is founded, everything is the life, the movement is related and of course founded upon the divine, and living in the divine consciousness and its action founded obedience to a divine will. Thank you. Vande Mataram.